Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the first ever school board endorsement forum. We have endorsed school board candidates before, but we've never had a forum. This is the first one. Many of you were here last month for the town council forum, which went well. Again, we're going to have opening statements from each of the candidates that are here tonight. Is Andrea Lowe here? No? Okay. Al, I'd like to ask you to stand up here. We have Happy Creek School Board District. We have Antoinette Funk and Stephanie Short. For North River, we have Melanie Salins. And for 4th District, we have Andrea Lowe, which I don't believe is present, and Al Gunn. We're going to start off the forum with 2-minute opening statements from each candidate. We'll start from left to right, so we'll start with Antoinette Funk.
All right. Good evening, and thank you for having me here. My name is Dr. Antoinette Funk, and I am your premier candidate for the Warren County School Board Happy Creek District seat. I want to share with you 3 words: experience, education, and passion. In representing the constituents of the district, and most importantly, our students, I will bring to the table 22 years of positive, successful experience, a deep and rich educational background, and a strong passion for public education and supporting students. Now more than ever, our students in Warren County need a voice to advocate and sustain their unparalleled needs. I want to see integrity, accountability, and transparency across our system in every building. I will work collaboratively with all of our stakeholders to serve and provide leadership and guidance to our schools, where all students can thrive. I am an educator, a lifelong learner, and a mother of 2 boys, one who has multiple special needs. I have personally experienced all forms of education, public, private, and homeschool. I am a former Samuels Public Library board member, a Rotarian, and a current Northwestern Community Services board member. I believe solid foundations begin through a positive relationship with our school system. All these highlights, plus many more, give me the personal and unique perspective to provide the leadership and the guidance that every student and staff deserve. I understand the challenges of a school system. I understand the challenges that parents experience, and I am capable and committed to promoting a fiscally sound budget, student achievement success, and supporting all of our stakeholders. Thank you.
And now we'll have Stephanie Short from Happy Creek District.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Short. I've lived in Warren County for over 20 years with my husband and 4 sons. My children range in age from 23, almost 23, to 7 years old, and some of them have learning disabilities. We have experienced all kinds of educational settings. My sons have attended private school. They've been homeschooled. Last year, one of my sons did an online accredited high school program, as well as public school. My 2 oldest are graduates of Warren County High School. The second one just graduated this past year. I've been and continue to be an active member in my community by volunteering at almost every activity and school setting that my children participate. I volunteered in and served on my local property owner association, Hill J. Roberts PTO, for several years while my children were attending there. Front Royal Soccer Association on and off for 15 years, team mom, assistant coach, substitute coach, whatever needed. I have been involved with Scouts for over 12 years, serving as committee chair for 2 of our local Boy Scout of America units. I was also assisted in starting 2 new units to serve, local units to serve our local youth. I've also helped with local community and youth events such as this year's prom. Along with volunteering for the local units, I am also currently employed by the Boy Scout of America Council in Winchester. When I was approached about serving on the school board, I decided that this was the perfect opportunity to expand my volunteer and serving the youth in our community. I'm a conservative parent who believes in parental rights and protecting all children. I personally brought the Virginia Department of Ed transgender policy to the public's attention this past month. I posted the information on every Facebook page that I was a part of, regardless of what their stance on anything or purpose of the group was for, because I was trying to get the information out there. By becoming a member of the school board, I hope to bring focus of the schools back to education and making a positive difference in the children and the students and families in our community. Thank you.
And now we'll have Melanie Salins from North River.
Hi, my name is Melanie Salins, and I was just appointed to the North River School Board. I grew up the oldest of 6 kids. My mom was a public school teacher until she stayed home to raise us children. My dad worked as a project manager building schools and churches, and so I got the opportunity to go to work with him in the summer times and see all these projects through. I was able to work in his construction office in the summertime, and my stepmom has her doctorate and ran a school for students with dyslexia and is a professor at several local colleges. So my family life has afforded me many opportunities and helped form my worldview. Growing up, I went to public school. I was in the Gifted and Talented program. I graduated with honors with an advanced diploma and went to George Mason University on a full academic scholarship. I originally planned to be a teacher. I was a high-level competitive gymnast and started working at only 13 years old. I'm a coach by profession, and so I also contracted with various middle and high schools in Northern Virginia coaching cheer tumble. So I was in the schools, I saw the behind the scenes, I talked to parents, to teachers, I saw the trends. I had the opportunity to work with special needs children during college when I assisted a doctor teaching sensory motor integration therapy. Ultimately, I decided not to become a teacher. Instead, I went into field service work, writing underwriting reports, doing risk to value inspections. My husband and I have spent our entire married adult life here in Warren County. We've been here for 18 years now. I'm very fortunate that he is a wonderful provider and has given me the gift of being able to stay home and homeschool our 2 children. I currently teach PE at the Virginia Hills Co-op, and I continue to coach gymnastics as well. I have been blessed to have the time to pursue a variety of my passions. I am a health instructor for an international women's group to help women who are struggling with autoimmune disease and infertility. I am the Republican North River Magisterial District Chair. I co-founded Birth Local and Save Warren's Women's Care. I co-founded the Warren County Coalition. I've organized countless nonprofit and community activism events and fundraisers. I get my joy from helping give back to others. I'm a hard worker, I'm inquisitive, I do my research. I think I have a lot to offer the school board. My perspective is wide, and I hope to listen and learn and bring some innovative solutions. Thank you.
Now we'll have Al Gunn from Fork.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Al Gunn. Easy to remember. Just the 2 ends though. Just remember you got to put 1 more on the end. I'm a write-in candidate for Fork River, so just remember 2 ends. I thank you for allowing me to address you this evening. I'm seeking your support for my write-in candidacy for the Fork District. Just a little bit about myself, my background. I've taught for over 13 years in Fairfax County. And in between stints in Fairfax County, I taught at Chelsea Academy, where I served not only as an instructor in Latin and religion, but also as a dean of students and an activities director. So I have experience with both sides, both the classroom side and the administrative side. So some perspective there from which to judge the initiatives that come from the higher ups. Frequently having been on the receiving end, but also understanding that sometimes, the best laid plans. But I'm also a coach in FRSA and a commissioner for U8, where my son plays currently. And even though I'm a transplant, I'm from Texas originally, lived here for the last 7 years, and have been in education for quite a while, have a number of degrees, a couple of graduate degrees, one from the University of Toronto, one from University of Dallas, did some PhD coursework at Catholic University, but have been exposed to education for a very long time. My dad was Dean of Admissions at a medical school, state medical school in Houston, for over 30 years, and so I got to see a lot of the change in education. He was very much into education, so I've had a lot of experience with it over the course of my life. So a lot of experience, a lot of exposure to initiatives and different things like that. So I bring that to the service of the Fork District in helping us to navigate some of the trends that we face right now. And I would categorize those trends, and I would use a threesome as well, like the 3 R's. But I would say that our challenges right now requires us to be cautious, circumspect, and finally to make our decisions community-based. And these needs are growing by the minute. So those 3 C's, I think, would be the watchwords for what I would try to do as a member of the school board. As a current teacher, going on my 14th year in public school instruction, and I participated in curriculum development, grading policy development. I served on countywide committees on those issues, standardized testing development, as well as my experience in private school, which I had just mentioned, and administration, and in post-secondary instruction. I think I have a lot of insight into where these 3 things, the caution, the circumspection, and the community-based consideration are needed, okay? And I'll go more into those later on, but I just want to keep reminding you that those, I think, are 3 ways of considering or thinking about how the stakeholders, and in particular the parents, who I think every teacher and administrator and going on up, everyone with oversight of the schools should look towards when they try to partner with those parents in doing what's best for the kids. And we see so many things. I mean, just over the last couple of days, with the new mandates coming out, new initiatives, all of this stuff. We need the stakeholders, the families, the parents to step up, and I think it's the role of the school board to make sure that they can do that. I think the best teachers are those that look at the parents as partners, and I think that the school board can help in that regard. So I thank you for your consideration.
Okay, we're going to start with our first question. We're going to go left to right again, and then we'll go back right to left. Each question, you'll be given 1 minute to respond. We're going to start with Antoinette Funk for Happy Creek. If the Warren County school system is presented with more state and/or federal social mandates, are you prepared to reject these mandates? If so, please explain why.
So by social mandates, I am assuming you are talking about social distancing, masking.
No, any type of
Any type of-
social, type of engineering that the school systems try to bring upon our kids. For example, the transgender policy that was just tried to pass by the state, and here at a local level, we said no.
Correct. So what we need to do here in Warren County is focus on Warren County. We need to focus on what our students' needs are. We need to focus on what our county believes in. And I think we've already made one statement to what our county supports. We need to do that collaboratively while we also are ensuring that we are supporting every student. So it takes a very diligent effort for all parties involved to make sure that we are thoroughly reviewing what the state is pushing down on us, and we need to collaboratively work to make sure, first of all, that we are supporting Warren County students. We are different than every other county, whether they're beside of us or 40 miles up the road, and support those students and needs to make sure that every student has the opportunity for learning in our county.
Thank you very much. Stephanie, do you want me to repeat the question?
Sorry. I was very vocal in this past transgender bathroom issue. Like I said, I put it out in all the Facebook groups that I was a part of, even if they did not concern children, because I felt parents just weren't getting the message about it, about anything that's going on with the school board. And it's not that they're not necessarily paying attention, they're just busy. But I do feel that I agree, we need to protect all the students. We need to see what Warren County needs Warren County is different, and I am very happy that we made a stand at the beginning of July at that meeting and said no. But I have no issue with very thoroughly looking at everything the state sends down and saying no if that's what we need to do.
Thank you very much. Melanie?
I think an important point that a lot of people don't know is that the Virginia Department of Education is appointed by our governor. They are not elected. We are elected here locally to represent the best interests of our local children. So I think it's very important that we push back against the state and Richmond and their overreaching mandates that are not the best fit for our students. And I definitely dug into the transgender bathroom issue. It wasn't just bathrooms, it was locker rooms, it was overnight trips, and the big sticking point was that they also wanted to remove parental knowledge. They did not want parents to be allowed to even be told that their children were taking part in this at school. So I have my binders here. This center one is what I downloaded in order to learn about the policies, and I think we are going to have to continue to push back against Richmond.
Thank you very much. Al?
Those are some great answers. So in fact, I would just build on those. I mean, especially the notion that we are different than other counties. Many of us have chosen to be here, specifically because we came here at one point or another and said, boy, this is a community I'd like to make myself a part of. So I think we want to keep that. The other thing too is, in the light of some history in Warren County, we have to remember too, I think also that some of that money belongs to us. So if we have to entertain a possibility of implementing something and put it to study within our own group and apply it the way we think it ought to be applied, right, that is perfectly fine. And then in that case, just like when we send money to Washington, that money should come back here. It doesn't belong to the Department of Education in Richmond or in Washington to take money from us, decide that our answers for Warren County aren't good enough, and then withhold our money from us. So rather than rejecting mandates or finances with mandates tied, I would say let's get our money and let's get the resources that we need, and let's make sure that as my cohorts up here said, that it applies to us specifically.
Thank you very much. Okay, second question, we're going to start with Al. Do you support the school board transgender policy mandated by the state? Will you be willing to litigate, if necessary, to defend our local school board's decision?
The school board policy, as I understand it, and that's from just public accounts, I do not support that policy, as the state has indicated. It's certainly under litigation in many areas of the state, and will probably continue to be so for the foreseeable future. And as my colleagues up here all said, I don't think it has even really been fully thought out. The implications it has for parents, their oversights, all those things remain to be resolved. So I don't really see any way that that can even be suggested as having been completed as a process. It's just a series of suggestions apparently, or wishes from people in either Richmond or somewhere else.
Right.
So yeah.
And apparently it's going to be on the agenda at the next school board.
Apparently.
Melanie?
Could you repeat the question from
Yeah. Do you support the school board transgender policy mandated by the state? Will you be willing to litigate, if necessary, to defend our local school board's decisions?
I absolutely do not support the Virginia Department of Education's policies, and I do support being willing to fight and litigate. So I downloaded and read the full decision on the Grimm case, and there are a lot of sticking points in there that I think we have a good legal leg to stand on. We have a right to shield one's body from exposure to viewing by the opposite sex, and there are multiple case laws cited in that opinion about that. We have to be willing to stand up for our children, and I am willing to do that.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Obviously, I do not support the policy, and like Melanie said, it goes into more than just bathrooms and locker rooms and field trips and parental rights. I actually received an email today about a court case that the legal opinion that the judge expressed was that these were just suggestions and that the school board had a legal standing with which to sue and defend their decision, and that funding is not tied to the policy. So I am definitely willing to defend and vote no and anything we need to do to protect our kids.
Thank you very much. Antoinette?
I as well do not agree with the Virginia State Board policy guidance, and I do support our current board as they have stood and shown. I believe that every student in our county, regardless of your reason, if you are not comfortable with using a restroom, can have an alternative. We are here to support every student, but at the basis of that, we need to protect all of our students as well.
Okay, we're going to do the third question. We're going to start with Antoinette. The Warren County school budget has doubled over the last 20 years, and yet the student population has only increased by 100 students in that same time period. It has actually decreased over the last 10 years. During the same time period, the school's academic scores have been well below the state average and stagnant. How do you propose holding the superintendent accountable to not only increase test scores, but reduce the budget?
So I think there's a lot of things that we need to do. We need to pick apart and look at the budget. We need to have people on the board that are not just perusing a 15, 20, 30-page document and saying, okay, sounds great. We need to have people on the board who know what they're talking about. We need to know what each budget line is and what are we spending that for. We need a person who is going to have courageous conversations and ask the questions. So in order to do all that and to look at that and determine which way we need to go, we've got to look at the budget, pick it apart, and spend that time asking questions and getting responsible answers. So it comes down to accountability and responsibility. And we do that the same way with test scores. We find out what the plan is and we hold them accountable. Follow through and follow up with what is happening.
Thank you, Antoinette. Stephanie?
I would agree. School boards should be transparent in their finances. They should ensure the accountability of the fiscal health of the school budget. If that means sitting down and going line by line and reading every single document that's sent to you, then that's what you have to do. And I know in some cases that's not being done currently. So I agree. We need to go through the budget. We need to find out where the overage is going and how we can solve that problem.
Thank you very much. Melanie?
So the budget concerns me very much. I first started looking into the budget back in 2019 when the AS Roads renovation went over budget by $4 million. And I realized that all of our renovations and builds were going over budget drastically. I find no excuse for that. I have some experience in the construction industry, and there's just no excuse for that. Our current budget is over $60 million. It makes up 53% of our county expenditures. That number is continuing to grow. It's set to grow by another 6% next year, while at the same time our student base is declining. Our current number of enrolled students is that of, it's been declining since 2012, and it's now down as low as it was in 2001. So there is something seriously wrong here, and I intend to dig into those budgets and figure out exactly why.
Thank you, Melanie. Al?
Yeah, I would reiterate those comments about examining the line items closely. Another thing I think that we see in education across the nation right now, it's been frequently remarked on, is a lot of these expenditures are not going to classroom education at all. In fact, they're just inflating bureaucracies and central administrative salaries and other things like that. And I think that has to be seriously looked at, because as a teacher, I know for every dollar that doesn't make its way to the classroom, that's either one more student in my classroom, or worse, a class that doesn't get offered because they can't allot this number of students to the teacher they need to hire for that. So I think that's another big part of this reform, is that the administrative expense has to be reduced significantly to make sure those dollars find their way to the classroom.
Sounds good. Okay, one more question. We're going to start with Al. Do you support parental rights to educate children as we deem most appropriate? If that would be homeschooling, private schooling, or public schooling? And kind of a two-part question. Do you support a voucher system with the money that is provided for the student, following that student to the school of their choice?
Yes, on all of those. So as the father of someone who's currently homeschooled through the help of a Montessori program, and as someone who firmly believes that the parents are the primary educators of their children, and whatever institutions that arise to help them in that regard must defer to and must be at the behest of the parents. The parents direct the education of their children. And I think that, again, the best teachers, the best administrators recognize that, and they see that they should be in a support role. And so all the initiatives that you mentioned as ways of enhancing the parents' authority over or guidance over their children's education, because they are the people that know when their children are getting the education that they need. So I would say yes to all of those.
Thank you. Melanie?
I am a huge proponent of parental rights. Nobody knows their child better than the parents. School choice is a very personal decision, and I am fortunate enough to be able to have the choice in educating my children in meeting their needs best. I would love to see all children be able to have the same opportunities, and the only way we're going to achieve that is if the tax dollars follow the student instead of following the schools. And competition, that's the basis of a free market. That's what brings about an improvement, and it raises everybody up. So yes, I absolutely support school choice.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Yes, on all of them. Parents are the primary caregiver and educators of their children. I mean, you're in charge of your own child. I myself was a product of public school, homeschooled, and private school. My children, we've done private school. I've homeschooled them. They, like I said, did the virtual online accredited high school program, and they've attended public schools as well. I chose what was best for each child based on what I knew on how that child learned and what could be offered through the county, because some of them do have special needs. I chose that, and I would love for every parent to have that ability. And a lot of times it comes down to financing for the family. If you have a single income family, or you have a single mother or single father, they don't have the money and the finances to be able to afford the private school or homeschooling. So vouchers gives them a way to be able to do that.
Thank you. Antoinette?
I am a supporter of parent choice. Without a doubt, parents need to participate in their students' education, because education does start at home. And in order to have a voucher system, you have to have a multifaceted infrastructure in place. We currently do not have a system in place. It takes a lot of minds to have that type of detailed infrastructure in place. It is something that cannot happen overnight, and it will take time to do that, but with the right people at the table, it's definitely an option that we could make available. But again, that is a multifaceted infrastructure. It's not just as simple as, that simple yes or no, but it is definitely something that our students deserve, because their individual needs are so different and so great, and our parents know what those needs are. They know them best, and they need to make those choices for their students.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go into closing statements of 2 minutes each. We're going to start from this side of the table since we started last time here. Al, 2-minute closer.
Okay, so again, just to reiterate, at the beginning I gave you 3 things, and I think I talked about them in each of the questions that we came across. The first of those was, and I'll I'll actually go in reverse order. The last of those was first community, right? The community that a school district or a school system involves is primarily children and teachers, or educators, as some people describe them, but parents as well. That's the community who should be involved in making these decisions. The more that we can bring parents into each and every of these decisions, right, the more that we can return it to the control, the oversight, the interests, so that the parents aren't surprised by these things, as my colleagues were pointing out. That's half the battle right there. Teachers and schools do best when they seek to partner with those parents. And even though I have a lot of training in my own area of expertise, right, I look to the parents to determine whether or not those children have been educated and whether or not they're happy and whether or not they're good citizens. And those are the things that parents need to be brought back into. So that's the first of my C's, or the last, community. The second, circumspect, or another word for that is limited. We have to ensure that the control and oversight of the school curriculum, which have seen repeated failures over the years, like No Child Left Behind and other initiatives, which came from very high up. And in fact, the more likely you are to see an acronym in a school initiative, the more likely it is to be not arranged for the people that it's going to affect. It's designed to maybe confuse even. Acronyms are the enemy. So we need to have less acronyms. We need to have more clearly, simply, and circumspectly described initiatives so that parents can understand, and as partners so they can help implement. Right? These shouldn't be done without their either consent or their involvement. And the last one, I guess, is to be cautious. All right? And I was using this analogy earlier, an old one, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. How many babies and bathwaters have we thrown out over the last, in my time in education, the last 20 years? So many. And when it comes to looking at things like character education, which now we're looking at a new acronym, social and emotional learning, and all of these other things, we've mislaid some of the gems of education that we had in the past, and maybe it's a time to reconsider that, and it's certainly, going forward, a time to use the community and caution or circumspection to ensure that we don't do that again. So those would be my 3 watchwords, and that's what I would attempt to do along with the rest of my colleagues up here who have spoken so well to these issues.
Thank you, Al. Melanie, two-minute closing statement.
Oh, it's an exciting time we're living in. But I'm positive, and I believe positive change can come from the struggles that we've faced over the last year due to COVID. I believe we're on the verge of an educational revolution, that the times are changing. I hope to see a broader view of what public education can look like. We have the opportunity to truly recognize the uniqueness of every child and provide them with an educational experience best tailored to them. As a homeschooler, I will bring fresh perspective to the board, one that I believe will mesh well with the changes on the horizon for public schools. In closing, I will make my platform simple. I believe in parental rights and parental involvement first and foremost. The state does not own our children. I am pro-education and anti-indoctrination. I like fiscally responsible budgets. I am for supporting teachers so they don't want to leave the profession. I research, I question, I like logical solutions. And one thing I hope everyone already knows about me from my involvement in the many issues over the past few years is that I have the courage and the assertiveness needed to stand up for what's right. I believe our school board needs my strong voice.
I agree.
Stephanie?
So, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you tonight. Just to reiterate, I'm a conservative parent of 4 boys. I believe that school boards should be transparent in their finances. They should be ensuring accountability in the fiscal health of the school budget. They should set goals and have visions for the future of our students, and they should advocate for the students and families. Having children of my own who I've had to advocate for in the public school system, I would like to ensure that we are providing the best opportunities and resources for all our students, especially the special needs students. I believe that ideology and political agendas do not belong in schools. Schools should be educating, not indoctrinating. School employees are not the second mother of the child, as I've heard quoted before. Parents are the parents and have the right to choose what is best for their child. They're the primary caregivers and educators of their children. I believe we should protect all children. The Virginia Department of Ed transgender policy is very important, and please attend at the next school board meeting on August 4th, because it is coming back up again, and speak. I do not believe that critical race theory, culture, compliance, or any other name that it is given should be taught in school. I would like to leave you with a few thoughts. A school board member should be a leader in the community, someone that people look up to and respect, someone that is willing to listen, be receptive, and learn, be understanding and caring. They should have a passion for what they do and be eager to serve their community. They should be an advocate for students and families. I personally feel that I am all these and more. I feel that by not being part of the school system, such as an employee or teacher, along with the years of my experience as a parent in different educational settings, that I could benefit the community, because I would be bringing a unique perspective to the board. I hope to make a positive change in the quality of our education system and to help our students and families. I will continue to advocate for our students. I hope to be a resource that community members, teachers, and students feel they can trust and will know that I will take their concerns seriously and will work to find a solution. I hope to receive your endorsement for Happy Creek District School Board Representative. Thank you.
Thank you. Antoinette?
Thank you for listening to us this evening. There's been a lot of educational talk. I've had the opportunity to showcase my experience in education, my actual education as being a teacher and an administrator, and my passion for serving students and the staff of Warren County. I've been able to share with you my views on current issues and my ideas to lead Warren County and its students forward. I am the advocate our students need and the voice our students deserve. I have the inside educational experience and knowledge to bridge all of our stakeholders together to support our students and move us forward. I am the candidate who will serve with integrity, honest accountability, and transparency, asking the required tough questions and taking on the courageous conversations. My role as one of the 5 elected school board members will be to make sure every student has the opportunity to experience an educational pathway that meets their needs and equips them for a future outside of the school system. I will advocate for a fiscally sound budget and improved student achievement. This can be done with vigilant expectations, policies, and deliberate fiscal planning. We can provide for successful outcomes because hard choices can make better schools. And the best choices for our students are not always the easiest for the adults. I believe in and I will invest in our public schools. I will showcase their strengths and all the good that's happening. And I will work to improve the weaknesses. We can fix the areas that are inadequate. I will protect your tax dollars to make sure they are spent wisely, and protect our students so that you, as parents, their primary caregivers, can be an integral part of your child's education. If there's one thing that you remember this evening, it's this. I had the experience, the education, and the passion to get the job done. I humbly ask for your vote on November 2nd. Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the first school board forum. I think overall we have a great bunch of candidates up here. Got some great answers from everybody. Look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.